Apple or other things like that, as it's basically every wine you're going to get some sort of apple in there as well. And so for this part of the tour, we're going to take a step on over to the vineyard right there, and I'll tell you a little bit why it's so good to grow grapes here all year round.
Is it because there's apples?
On this side, we're having our Cabernet Franc being grown. Over here, our Gamay Noir. Before it was replanted, it was our Merlot grape. However, these are the two different red varieties that we have on site here. When you drove in this way, you would have seen our Chardonnay being grown on the right side, and then deeper back into the parking lot, you would have seen our Riesling. So we only have 4 different types of grape varieties on site here. Everything else will be sourced from other farmers in the area, as we just don't have enough land ourselves to actually grow everything here. And that'll be basically the same for any other big winery in the area. They'll be buying their grapes off of others, their own growers, as you might say.
So you said Gamay and so
Cabernet Franc.
Cabernet Franc. If I get a Gamay, is it 100% grown here, or is it mixed with?
So
Gamay
it'll say exactly on the bottle. As far as I'm aware, it'll say Niagara Peninsula. And the reason being is because we bottle and package everything in Beamsville, so you can't technically say it was all done in Niagara on the Lake. But I would say the large majority of our grapes are from Niagara on the Lake, but you might get some from 4 Mile Creek, which will have a distinction for it as well. And so why it's actually so good to grow grapes here kind of all year round is if you take a look in the very back there, that very big hill that you see, that's the Niagara Escarpment, and then back that way we have Lake Ontario. And so it actually creates a really fantastic air pattern cycle. So even on the hottest of day, much hotter than today, we'll have the nice cool air that'll come off Lake Ontario, sweep through the vineyard, and actually give us the best growing conditions even on the worst of day. And then during the winter, when it's super cold in here, even up to -20, we're gonna have that warm air that'll come off the Niagara Escarpment and actually help protect our grapes that are on the vine from all that kind of harsh climate. Although it does kill part of the vineyard at some points, as you know, Mother Nature has other plans at times. But that's essentially how this air pattern cycle produces some really good grapes at all points during the year. And that kind of leads me to my greater point, which is we are one of 19 wineries in the area that holds a sustainability certificate. So what that ensures is that all the grapes that you see being grown on site here, none of them have any pesticides used on them. So you know it's not only safe to drink our wine, but you can also take pride in how it's made as well. So I invite you all to take some pictures at the vineyard here. And if you have any questions at all, just let me know. So, how many fans of red wine do we have? All right, sometimes there's like 4. So, this will work out very well. You can guess, there's quite a few different fruits in there. The Cab Sauv is going to bring that raspberry, blackberry, blackcurrant, maybe a bit of that tobacco. The Cab Franc is going to bring that cherry, that black pepper. The Merlot might bring some vanilla, some cocoa, some plum. There's quite a few different things that you can kind of interchange there depending on what you actually eat. If you've never had a plum in your life, you're probably not going to guess plum. So, you know, no answer is completely wrong. It's just a little bit different than most. Does anybody kind of get a feeling on their teeth when they're drinking this? Do you know what that's called? Tannins, exactly. So those tannins are looking for protein enzymes in your mouth to attach to. And that's why really bold reds will be commonly paired with something like a steak, because they're almost scientifically supposed to go with something like that, a red meat at the very least. I'll talk a little bit about the barrels that you see behind me. The first two numbers will indicate what year the barrel was issued. The three numbers after that will indicate what year or what number the barrel it is, because we do have quite a few barrels down here. The first two numbers a year, there should be no barrel younger than 2018, as after 5 years or 5 uses, we'll actually take these barrels, give them over to Wayne Gretzky's, and Wayne Gretzky's will either sell them to other businesses or other individuals, or they'll actually use it for their red casket whiskey. So if you've ever been there before and you've seen that whiskey is tinted super red, you'll actually know that it was aged in a Peller oak barrel that used to host red wine. And then we have about 300 barrels down here, and then in our barrel house across beside the casual dining area behind it, it has about 1,100 barrels over there. So about 1,400 barrels total on site. Each barrel this size is about 225 liters of wine, and that'll produce about 300 bottles of wine per barrel. And so that's 1,400 barrels, and that's only for 3 of the 4 varieties that we have here. So you can imagine how many wines we produce, as we have, I think, over 13 different varieties that we have that aren't actually done on site here. And like I mentioned earlier, everything will be sourced and also packaged and bottled out in our Beamsville headquarters, as none of that is actually done on site here. We have 2 different types of barrels down here. We have French and American. You see the St. Martin right there. It's going to be one of the French ones. The French ones are a little bit better for us, as the pores in the wood are smaller, which make for a better aging process. I would say for a newer barrel of French, brand new, it's about $1,200, and then for an American barrel new, it's about $900. So it is quite expensive, but you know, you can always buy one of the barrels off of us for a cheaper price. It's about $100, I do believe. We sell them once a year during our barrel sale. And then the actual top to these, there's 2 different main reasons for it. Number 1 is to get the wine out. We'll put a hose in here, and then it'll suck out the wine. We'll put it all the way up there, up the ramp, and then there'll be like a tanker-like truck. It's like a gas-like truck, and that's how we'll actually ship all of our wine up the Beamsville. And the second reason why we have those on the top is because we do lose a little bit of wine due to evaporation every so often. So you have to make sure that these are all filled up and they have a consistent amount of wine to make sure the wine that you're producing is the same across all bottles, and it doesn't switch up from case to case even. So that's about it for this part of the tour.
Nana's gonna enjoy this. The ice throne.
Don't click the wall, Nana. How'd they do it? How'd they do that?
Freezing in there.
But how'd they make the others?
They probably etched it.
be my favorite, but no longer, as it is now the most sweet. As before I liked it because it's the least sweet. It's about 215 grams of sugar per liter. So not like the 180 that you're having now. It's still made with the same grape, but it spent 4 months in an oak barrel, kind of like a toffee caramel. And then we have the Riesling ice wine. It's the original ice wine that was created out in Germany. Not too surprising, but then it's a tropical fruit, so pineapple, guava, apple, melon. And then my now favorite, the Cab Franc ice wine, is kind of like a strawberry rhubarb pie flavor. It's also the most rare, as it is a red ice wine. It's quite hard to find that in other places. It is the most rare, but it is the most expensive. And then if you want to buy the most expensive bottle of ice wine we have, is that one in the corner over there. It's called 50 Bricks. It was harvested in the middle of a polar vortex, which made for even finer, sweeter juice to the wine, which you know, is going to be much sweeter than what you just had. It's $1,500 for a bottle, or you can cheap out and get the $600 version instead. So it's just two different varieties of 2013 and 2014. I would tell you more on how it tastes, but they haven't given me a free sample just yet. So if anybody buys it,
No fair.
give me a sip. Yeah, give me a sip. The dessert wine, you can have it with something really spicy in contrast to, so it's not just a dessert wine. However, during my training, they poured it on some ice cream, which is really good as well. So there's more than you can do with it than just kind of having it or something like that. I know someone who's had it paired with like an apple pie or something like that, and they said it was really good as well. Quite a few different things.